Hey everyone, welcome back to the factory. We're jumping back into Nomifactory, the expert tech mod pack for Minecraft, and today we are officially in LUV tier early late game territory. Things are getting serious now. At this stage, progression is no longer about basic automation, it's about scaling. We're talking higher voltage, cleaner power setups, advanced circuits, and refining our production lines to handle the insane material demands that LUV brings. Recipes are more complex, machines are more expensive, and efficiency actually matters. Nomifactory, built around gregtech progression, really starts to shine here. This is where planning pays off or where your factory completely bottlenecks. In today's episode, we'll be expanding infrastructure, upgrading our systems, and pushing deeper toward true endgame tech. If you've been following the journey, you know the grind has been real, but this is where it starts to feel powerful. Let's push this factory into the next level. Now I will be creating shulker soul vials. These are very important for pulsating crystals. To make pulsating crystals fully automated, I need shulker souls. First, I create shulker soul vials. These capture the shulker soul. After that, I can use the LUV fabricator to generate shulker drops from shulker souls. This means I do not need to find real shulkers anymore. I can just automate it. So the plan is simple. First, make shulker soul vials. Then, use the LUV fabricator with shulker souls. Then, connect that into my pulsating crystal setup. This will remove more manual work. Right now, emeralds are still manual in the autoclave with vibrant alloy. But once the shulker part is automated, I am much closer to full passive pulsating crystal production. In LUV tier, automation like this saves a lot of time. So this is a very important step for my base. I'm diving deeper into automating HSSE and all the different variants of HSS. I've been working on fixing some of the errors in the base setup, and it's starting to come together nicely. We're getting really close to a fully automated assembly line, which is super exciting. Right now, I'm focusing on our LUV assembling machine. This machine is key because it allows us to create the highest tier items in the game. The ultimate goal here is to build the draconic superconductor energy conduit, which is the top tier conduit you can make. This thing is powerful, and getting it automated is going to save us so much time. Before we get there, though, I have to make sure that the assembly line is fully efficient and that all the HSS variants are being processed correctly. I've noticed a few errors in the base assembly, so I'm fixing those first. Once everything is running smoothly, the LUV machine will be able to assemble the components automatically, and we can finally produce the draconic superconductor conduits on a large scale. It's been a lot of trial and error, but we're almost at the point where the base can run almost entirely on its own. Soon, I'll show you how all the systems work together, from the raw materials being input, to the HSS variants being processed, and finally to the LUV machine pumping out the top tier conduits. Stay tuned, because once this setup is fully automated, it's going to be a game changer for any Nomifactory player. Now a nice time lapse of my fixing up my base and getting close to LUV. The macerator crushes the ore down into crushed ore, doubling our output and preparing it for further processing. From there, the crushed ore moves into the ore washer. The ore washer cleans the crushed ore using water, giving us purified crushed ore and removing impurities. Next, the purified ore goes into the thermal centrifuge. The thermal centrifuge spins it at high speed and heat, separating out additional byproducts and giving us centrifuged crushed ore. Finally, we send it back into the macerator one more time. This last maceration turns the centrifuged material into dust, which is now fully processed and ready for smelting or further chemical processing. And that's the full ore processing chain: macerator, ore washer, thermal centrifuge, macerator. Now we need to set up ore dictionary filters. This part is very important. If we do not filter things properly, the dust can go into the wrong output. If that happens, the whole system can back up. We only want specific items going to specific machines. For example, purified crushed ore should only go to the thermal centrifuge. Centrifuged ore should only go back into the macerator. And final dust should go to storage or smelting. If we do not use ore dict filters, the system will mix everything together. Then our output just ore system will fill up with purified ore that never gets processed. Once that happens, machines stop running because they have nowhere to send items. So we are setting filters by ore dictionary name. That way, it does not matter what metal it is: iron, copper, nickel, the system knows exactly where each stage goes. Crushed ore goes one way. Purified ore goes another way. Centrifuged ore goes back for final maceration. Dust goes to storage. This keeps the entire processing line clean, organized, and fully automated. Now we're setting up liquid tungsten steel for aquatic coil production. The temperature is so high that it cannot be stored in normal GT drums. If you try, the drum simply will not accept the fluid because it exceeds the heat limit. In gregtech style drums, there is a temperature cap. Anything too hot just cannot go inside. And liquid tungsten steel is way above that limit. But there is a workaround. We can bypass this limitation by using a thermal foundation tank. Thermal foundation tanks do not have a heat limit the same way GT drums do. That means we can safely store liquid tungsten steel inside them without any issues. So instead of fighting the temperature restriction, we route the fluid directly into a thermal foundation tank. From there, we can pipe it into our assembler for aquatic coil production. This keeps the system stable, prevents fluid loss, and avoids annoying storage problems. High temperature fluid, special tank. The assembly line is finally completed after a bunch of complicated processes. It took a lot of setup, a lot of wiring, fluids, circuits, and fixing small mistakes, but now it's done. And because of that, we can finally start making LUV motors and all the high-tier components that come with it. This is a huge milestone. Instead of manually inserting items, I'm going to automate it properly. I'll be using the ME interface to push the required items directly into the system. The ME interface will export everything needed for each recipe automatically. From there, the items go into an actually additions item interface using lasers. The lasers will handle the transfer cleanly and instantly, which keeps everything compact and organized. As you can see, our assembly line is now fully complete and fully automated. Every machine is connected properly, all the inputs are filtered, and the entire system runs without any manual help. Materials come in, get processed through each required stage, and move exactly where they need to go. No backups, no item mix-ups, just smooth automation. On top of that, we now have our LUV assembling machine up and running. This is a huge step forward for the base. With this machine online, we can finally craft the components we've been working toward for so long. And most importantly, we can now make our aquatic coil blocks. After setting up countless machines, fluid systems, high-temperature handling, or processing chains, and assembly automation, we've finally reached the point where coil production is possible. This marks a major progression milestone. The infrastructure is done, the automation is stable, and high-tier crafting is